Hey, welcome back to Everything Money. We're glad you joined us again. It's Seth, Paul, and Mo. Typically, we talk about stocks, businesses, finances. We love the idea of talking about mindset. It's incredibly important, and it really, Paul, you've taught me, and I've learned in some of my past jobs, the idea of like simple mindsets affect everything we do. I mean, the way we eat, the way we parent, the way we invest, more specifically, building discipline. In this video, we'd like to talk about Atomic Habits, Paul, the book by James Clear. We've all read it.
Ohio man.
Yeah, Ohio. He went to Denison. I went to the College of Worcester, another small division, nice Division III school here in Ohio. But the idea, Paul, you have to remind me, is the idea of Atomic Habits is not atomic big, it's atomic small.
Well, that's the funny part. When I was, when I hear it, I go, atomic, everybody thinks atomic explosion, big explosion. No,
Yes.
It's all about atomic, like very small particles kind of thing.
Atoms.
Yes, the gist of the book,
Correct.
and we'd love to get Paul's thoughts on this. The gist of the book is really improving yourself very, very small angstroms at a time on a daily basis.
Did you say angstroms?
This is a joke, you know. Angstrom. Do you know what an angstrom is, Mo?
I remember the name, I have no idea what it is.
Paul, why are you drawn to this topic and this book, and why, how does this work into your daily mindset?
So when we had our first podcast, we talked about B to Y.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Right?
I was watching old episodes, by the way.
Were you? So the thing everybody thinks is that all these people, the LeBrons of the world, the Jordans of the world, had some major epiphany that happened. And I'm like, no, it really doesn't happen that way. I found that my most success came when I broke everything down into smaller tasks, right? I used to be a big goals guy. I still am a goals guy, but instead of I set a goal, but the most important thing is I break that goal down as many smaller parts as possible. You know, for example, I was having a conversation yesterday with Chris, our sales manager. We were talking about an investment that Mo and I have in our houses in Mexico and now in Turks. And I sat there and said, it's funny, I'll get texts, hey, Paul, we sold this week, that week. And I always go, I don't care. People will be like, why don't you care about sales? It's not that I don't care about sales.
You mean selling stays at the vacation
Yes.
homes?
What I care about is how many phone calls did we make? How many reach outs did we have? Why? Because I realized that those will lead to sales. If you have the right process, it's about filling the funnel in. Same with reading, same with Spanish, same with chess. All the things that I do and take seriously, I don't care about becoming fluent. I care about becoming fluent in Spanish, but my main goal is if I do these things every single day, I will be fluent in 5 years. If I do cardio every single day, I will lose weight. If every single meal I sit there and think about what am I eating and what's the best choices for me, I will lose weight. If I work out 3 times a week for 30 minutes, I will gain muscle. But we all think about how do we gain 10 pounds of muscle? You know, Mo used to be a bodybuilder, right? Tell us your path on bodybuilding. And how did you break it down? You probably didn't even realize what you were doing, but now how do you look at it and say how you broke it down?
Every day and every meal, actually back then it was interesting. I did go every meal at a time. I knew the end goal I wanted to be, but I knew if I had to eat this 6 times a day to get to this level. And by the end of the first year, I put on 30 pounds of muscle in 12 months. That's a lot of muscle to put on. But had I not done those very, very small tasks, eating 6 times a day, working out for an hour a day, doing all the cardio, etc., that would have not led to the 30 pounds in the end. So it is about all those small, tiny tasks every single day, building upon each other, and that's what gets you to that end goal. Now, I had a friend who did the same thing as me, but he used steroids. He put on 50 pounds of muscle that year. So he put a little bit extra tasks.
And not one, and I'm not trying to be funny, but one steroid shot didn't give him that 50 pounds of muscle.
It was repetitive over and over.
Yeah, so kids, make sure you take as many steroids as possible.
And cycle all of them.
Kids. You know, Paul, another topic, it says the bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want them to change, or you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change.
System's everything. It's another word for processing, essentially, right? I break everything down into, okay, what matters and what I'm going to do. You know, one change I made recently, Seth and Mo, was I don't look at my net worth anymore. I used to look at it all the time, right? I used to do it quarterly. Say, okay, what's my net worth?
Yeah.
I don't look at it anymore. Why? Because focusing on my net worth would make me, in my opinion, make decisions that would just be like, how do I drive this net worth, as opposed to focusing on the decisions being made, right? If I'm not growing my net worth because I'm not investing because I think the markets are too high, I worry if we're focused on my net worth too much, it'll make me make decisions that aren't the right decisions in my investment portfolio.
They're going to grow it a little bit quicker because you're missing out on some stuff.
Correct. The FOMO starts to happen.
Yep.
So now I've shifted and saying, okay, Paul, what your goal is, every time you invest, is it the right investment based on your process? Because over long periods of time, as long as you do that, the net worth will take care of itself. My shift has gone from focusing on the ends and focusing on the means along the way. And it's funny because there's a book called Traction, and I was reading it with a friend of mine the other day because she was doing it for her work. And I remember reading it and said, we need to focus on the ends. And I was like, on the goals and not the, I remember it's something like, not the means, but it didn't say means. I was like, I remember reading it going, maybe I misunderstood it because I was like, I don't agree with this at all.
Yeah, I've seen other books where they talk about like, don't even set goals.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the guys who created
long-term goals, I mean, but keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, Basecamp. They don't believe in goals. I like the idea of having goals still. And this is what works for me. And this is part of the whole, what works for me is I like having a long-term goal, but then not disregarding it. Like we talk about this channel. We just hit 90,000 subscribers yesterday. Our goal is millions of subscribers. Mm-hmm. But my real next goal is 1 million subscribers, because I feel like after that, things will just, if we just put out good content, I have that 1 million subscribers goal, but what I think about along the way is, how do we put out more videos that are relevant to what we're trying to accomplish? And what are we trying to accomplish? Educating about investing, educating about money, educating about finance.
I think you have to have goals. If you don't have goals, you don't know where you're going.
So you know what's funny? These guys who did Basecamp, they disagree with that.
When did they know they got to a certain point where?
Goals for me sometimes, Mo, when I would consistently, if I'm not really great at setting them, I consistently underperform and just feel bad about myself if I set the wrong type of goals. If I reach too high, but you have a concept about reaching too. If you overreach but still do well, you still have a mindset about that. Right,
yeah, but then you don't want to beat yourself up because you didn't hit it. So Mo, to your comment, my goal was to hit 170 in weight. I found once I hit 170, was I going to start slacking on the process? But if your process is, if you're just focused on what your process is and your atomic habit, who cares what your goal is? You will accomplish. If we attach ourselves to a goal and we don't hit it, do we feel like a failure?
Yes, but right now your new goal is to hover at 170. So
yeah,
that is a goal still.
But
to me, I look at it as just saying, if you're just walking and you don't know where you're going, you're just never going to stop walking.
Well, I think to bring it all around,
that's kind of what I'm getting at. You understand?
To bring it all around is I like Paul's B to Y mindset, Mo, because I think all too often you might be at home, you might be setting goals with no clear path on how to actually reach it.
Yeah.
And
as opposed to now, we're looking at the path along with the goal. What works, and Mo, I agree with you. I like having some sort of goal.
Yeah.
But let's look at it this way. Look at our houses, international houses. Mm-hmm. If we only have a thing about let's go, create constant goals, the goal doesn't always have to be growth. Right. And that's where I sit there and think people get messed up.
I totally agree with that.
I'm okay having only 4 or 5 houses. I used to want to have 50,000 apartments. Then it went down to 10,000. Now it's, hey, I just want to do really good deals in real estate that get high rates of return, and whatever that ends up number of units, fine, because I haven't become lazy. I've just started to say, hey, I'd rather have 3,000 or 4,000 units that do really, really well than 10,000 units that do average. And you might sit there and say, why are you even talking about this? Is still an obscene number. Yeah, but for me, 3,000 or 4,000 units is not an obscene number. It's all about where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Me getting to 170 is a great number in weight. Me being at 160 is an obscene number to me. I do not need or want to be 160. I feel wonderful like this. In fact, I put this on today, like, oh my God, this is so baggy. Right? So the whole point is we have these things where we teach people goal. And if you don't have huge goals, you're a failure. Mm-hmm. Is that really the right thing?
Yeah.
What it should be is pick your habits and hit those habits every day, and that's what makes you successful.
Well, that's a lot harder, Paul. I mean,
why is that harder? To me, that's easier.
Because you have to start implementing this disciplined process. And, you know the process.
Well, you're not going to hit the goal anyhow if you don't implement any process anyway.
I know, but it's much more fun, Mo, to set this lofty goal and then go tell everyone on Facebook what the goal is without actually starting to implement these atomic habits to get to where we need to go.
Big thing that works for me is writing things down. or putting them in a checklist. And of course, you use Task Manager, but I like physically, in the beginning, I really like physically writing things down, and drawing that line feels really good. Not drawing that line every night, it sucks. So right now I have 6 things that I have to do every single day in my reminders. I check them off, and they're very small things. Play guitar for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Literally 5 minutes a day. He told me this back during COVID.
Because he told me that.
Okay.
Seth told me, and I told you.
And I heard 5 minutes a day, and I'm like, you're going to tell me that I'm going to be able to play the guitar if I practice for 5 minutes a day.
But ironically,
I thought
Seth told me that. I did it. He didn't do it. I did it.
Yeah,
then I stopped.
Yeah.
And then you kept up with it.
Yeah. And it works. 5 minutes a day.
Paul, the last thing it talks about is, like, of course, changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick them for years.
Exactly what we just talked about.
So that's what we talk about with our retirement calculator.
Yeah.
Saving every single month and making 10% a year doesn't sound like a lot when you're saving $400 a month, but all of a sudden it becomes millions of dollars if you just give it time. You know, that book, Psychology of Money, we talk about if you just give somebody time, it doesn't matter what their returns are, they will still do well. Same thing with every habit you pick. I have 9 tasks every day I do. Seems like a lot, but they're all small tasks. And that's why every month I get better at chess, every month I get better at Spanish, every month I get better at reading. I mean, guys, my task is no longer read 20 pages. I found that now when I just put read, I read more now than I did before. Last night I was reading a book. All of a sudden I put it down. I'd read 87 pages last night.
Jeez.
And I was like, oh my God, because the book was so good. It's about the Bin Laden raid.
Sutra?
What was that?
Kama Sutra.
Yes. It's about the Bin Laden raid. And I was just so engrossed in it. I was like, oh my God, I'm almost done with this book. And then the John Grisham book's coming out to me today, the 19th. I'm getting it today. And I know I'll probably inhale that book. And then upstairs, I read, my goal was to read 2 pages of a really boring book about investing. Guess what? I read an average of 5 pages. The whole point is when I changed my task from read 20 pages to just read, I read more. And I probably read about 7 or 8 pages a day when I did read 20 pages. I probably now read 30 pages a day when I put just read. Because the second I started the process of reading, it wasn't as daunting. Before it was read 20 pages, you know what? I can't start. Why? Because I'm not gonna get to 20 pages.
I don't want to.
That's me too, actually.
So if you just put read.
The fear of starting.
Yes, just put read. Why? Once you start one page, you're gonna read 3 or 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up reading more. The hardest part is getting that start going. So that's what I do.
Do you consider the idea, I was going to say, what are the 3 atomic habits you would give someone for financing, but doesn't it spread to everything? I mean, the way you interact with people, dieting. I mean, what sticks in your mind the most, to sum it all up, Paul?
Just what I just said. If you want to retire, just start saving. That's your first task.
Yeah.
Once you own that task, once you own that habit, it's done. It's just done. Then your next one might be, okay, I saved $500 this month. Okay, let me start to save $550. $50 extra. It's $1.50, $1.60 every day extra. That's it. These small things, if your goal is learning about financial statements, your first goal is learn the income statement. That's it. Find a book or find websites that'll teach you about the income statement. That's it. It's amazing to me how much you learn just by starting.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot more because I read an encyclopedia. I know a lot more because every day I just read a little bit more on the internet about something that's interesting to me. I watch way less TV now than I ever have. Because why? Now I actually look forward to, like, oh, you know what? Let me just go read something for a few pages. I don't even keep track of how much I read, but I know I read a ton now because I just changed my habit from read 20 pages to read. That's it. The small habit of just read. That's it, has changed my life completely. It's like investing. If you find a process that just limits your losses, your gains are gonna be huge. So my loss was not reading at all because my task was read 20 pages, I would give up going, well, I don't have time to read. Before we came down here, it was 9:36. I was like, oh, I haven't done my reading yet today. Even though I knew I was gonna do reading later. I picked up my book, 9:44, I was done with 4 pages of that investment checklist book. Guess what? Tonight, I'm gonna go home and I'm probably gonna read 30 pages of that other book. And not because on purpose, because I really enjoy it. That's the other thing. Don't read things you don't like. And if you have to read things you don't like for learning purposes, read little bits at a time. Atomic. If a book is 300 pages and it's boring, read 3 pages a day. You'll be done within 100 days. That's 3 months. Just do it. It's amazing how far you'll get.
Yeah,
for everything. Spanish.
That's what you've really taught me over these past 3-4 years. Just do stuff. Just like get
started. But pick the things that matter to you. Don't do 80 things. Mine are Spanish, chess, and working out and reading, essentially.
Get stuff done. Yeah.
Get stuff done. As long as
So
you start
simple.
the process little by little. It's amazing. I mean, Xavier here is 23 years old. Imagine if he just read 5 pages a day. He'd have probably read, by the time he's 40, he'd probably read, I mean, it's funny, I get told all the time that I read the most out of anybody they know, and I'm like, I don't even feel like I read a ton. I just read 30 pages a day, roughly.
You do read more than anyone I've ever met.
But the funny thing is, 30 pages a day is not a lot.
Yeah.
But it's 10,000 pages a year. That's 30 or 40 books a year.
Yeah, that's the atomic buildup, I guess.
That's exactly what it was.
That's our take. We'll update you. We love the mindset videos. We will keep. We'll probably circle back to this. I have emailed James Clear the offer, and to offer him to come on the show, and we'll see.
He charges a lot.
Does he?
I think for a speaking engagement, he's like 50 grand.
He asked. Well, he's just down the road, so maybe who knows?
Maybe 47.
Who knows? But again, Paul, you know why I did that is because you've told me just do it.
And you've gotten people.
Right.
We're not going to tell people who we've gotten, but Seth literally goes, "I'm going to email this person," and you emailed them what 3 times?
Just no, yeah, once.
Was it once?
Just once.
Literally, can we interview you?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, why not? And this is a very famous person.
So we're
in the
working
investment
on that.
community.
Yeah, we're working on that, guys. So anyway, that's a take. Final thumbs up. Check out our community below. You can get access to our software, the data. You can make better financial decisions using numbers. And follow along on our ride to $1 million, Paul. It's going to happen. I had a hard time believing that, but sure enough, we're honing in on 100 grand right now. So it's incredible.
On or around November 20th, we'll hit 100,000 subscribers.
Awesome. Final thumbs up. See you next video.